Light machine guns changed infantry combat in World War II. Squad-level automatic fire. Sustained suppression, mobile firepower. Some were brilliant. Some were disasters. This is every major light machine gun of the war. Starting with American weapons, the Browning automatic rifle, BAR M19118A2. This weapon defined American squad tactics for decades. It fired the full-power .30-06 cartridge at 550 rounds per minute from a 20-round magazine. The problem is, it's not really a light machine gun. It's too heavy to be a rifle, too light to sustain fire like a real machine gun. But it worked. American squads built their fire and maneuver around it. The bipod helps, but that 20-round magazine runs dry fast in a firefight. It's accurate, reliable, and hits hard. Infantry loved it despite the weight. It does the job. Moving on to Soviet designs. Prati, the Degtyaryov DP-28. Instantly recognizable by that massive pan magazine sitting on top. This 7.62x54R weapon fires at 550 rounds per minute, fed from a 47-round pan. It's simple, rugged, brutally reliable in mud and cold. The pan magazine is the weak point. It rattles, snags on brush, makes the gunner's silhouette huge, but in the snow and filth of the Eastern Front, simplicity wins. You can bury it in a swamp, dig it up, and it fires. Soviet infantry squads centered their tactics around it. Cheap to make, easy to maintain. It works. Continuing with the DPM. This is the improved DP-28 with a few critical fixes. They moved the return spring out of the gas tube because the original DP's spring would lose tension from barrel heat. The bipod mounts differently, more stable. The pistol grip improves control. Same pan magazine. Same limitations, but more reliable under sustained fire. It showed up late in the war and kept serving for decades after. The upgrades matter. It's legitimately capable. Now the RP-46, the Soviets took the DP design and added belt feed capability. You can still use the 47-round pan for mobility or lock in a belt for sustained fire from a defensive position. This flexibility is brilliant. The gun weighs more, around 13 kilograms loaded. But now you can actually suppress an enemy position without reloading every 6 seconds. It arrived too late for World War II but represents the logical evolution of the DP concept. It does what the DP couldn't. Moving to German weapons, the MG-34. This is where German engineering obsession meets battlefield reality. It fires 7.92 57mm Mauser at 800-900 rounds per minute from a 50-round drum or 250-round belt. The rate of fire is devastating. The quick-change barrel system works perfectly. The machining is immaculate. The problem is it's too good, too precise, too expensive, too complex. Dust, mud, freezing cold, all of it jams this weapon when the tolerances get fouled. German doctrine built the entire squad around the MG, not the rifleman. This weapon is the base of fire. Everyone else supports it. When it works, it's terrifying. When it doesn't, the whole squad is in trouble. Dangerous but high maintenance. The MG-42. Germany learned from the MG-34's problems. This weapon uses stamped parts, looser tolerances, simplified construction. The rate of fire jumps to 1,200 rounds per minute. That sound is unmistakable. Allied soldiers called it Hitler's buzzsaw. The barrel changes even faster, critical when you're burning through 1,200 rounds every minute. It's cheaper to make, easier to maintain, just as lethal. The high cyclic rate means ammunition disappears instantly, but the psychological effect on the enemy is enormous. Nobody wants to advance into that wall of lead. This weapon terrified Allied infantry. From Normandy to Berlin, it's outright dominant in defensive positions. Now British weapons, the Bren gun, based on the Czech ZB version 26 license built in Britain. This weapon fires 303 British from a top-mounted 30-round curved magazine at around 500 rounds per minute. The British built their infantry section around this weapon, just like the Germans did with the MG. The difference is the Bren is slower, more controllable, incredibly accurate. You can hit targets at 600 meters with controlled bursts. The top-mounted magazine limits capacity and creates a high profile, but it feeds reliably and keeps dirt out of the action. Maintenance is simple. The barrel change is quick. British and Commonwealth troops loved this weapon. It's steady, accurate, reliable. It does the job and keeps doing it. Moving to Japanese designs. The Type 96. This 6.550mm weapon was Japan's standard squad automatic. It fires from a top-mounted 30-round magazine, similar layout to the Bren. The rate of fire is only around 450 rounds per minute, controllable but slow. The cartridge is underpowered compared to Western rifles. The weapon is reliable enough in the Pacific jungles, resistant to moisture and heat. The problem is firepower. Against American squads with bars and later M1919s, the Type 96 is outgunned. It works, but it's outclassed. The Type 99. Japan upgraded to 7.74mm, a more powerful cartridge closer to Western standards. The design is essentially the same as the Type 96 but chambered for the bigger round. This gives Japanese squads more hitting power, better range. But by the time this weapon appeared in numbers, American industrial output was drowning Japanese forces in overwhelming firepower. The Type 99 is a better weapon than the Type 96, but it arrives too late and in too few numbers to matter strategically. It's dangerous, but the numbers aren't there. Continuing with Italian weapons, the WW2 LMG. This weapon is a disaster from the start. It fires 6.552mm Carcano from a fixed 20-round magazine that hinges open from the side. You can't swap magazines. You have to load it with stripper clips during a firefight. The oil pump system is supposed to lubricate rounds as they feed, but it attracts dirt and causes jams. The barrel can't be changed quickly. Italian squads hated this weapon. It's unreliable, awkward, fundamentally flawed. It's a museum piece in a modern war. The Modello 38, an attempt to fix the disaster of the Modello 30. This weapon uses a top-mounted detachable magazine, much better than the fixed-side magazine. But it still uses that ridiculous oil pump system. It still attracts dirt. The firepower is marginal. Italian infantry deserved better, but industrial capacity and design priorities failed them. It's less terrible than the Modello 30, which isn't saying much. It's outclassed. Now French weapons. The Châtellerault M1924-29. This 7.54mm weapon served as the backbone of French squad tactics. It fires from a top-mounted 25-round magazine at around 500 rounds per minute. The design is solid, reliable, well-balanced. The French army built their infantry sections around it before the war. The problem is France collapsed in 6 weeks in 1940, so the weapon's effectiveness is irrelevant when the entire army surrenders. Post-war, it served for decades in French colonial forces. The weapon itself is legitimately capable, but it never got a fair fight in World War II. Moving to Finnish weapons, the Lahti Saloranta M26. This 7.62 weapon is Finland's indigenous light machine gun design. It's magazine-fed, complex, prone to jamming in the brutal Finnish winter. Finnish forces preferred captured Soviet DP-28s because they were simpler and more reliable in the cold. The M26 works when maintained carefully, but in winter, warfare simplicity beats precision. It's outclassed by cruder designs. Continuing with Czech weapons, the WW2I. This is the grandfather of the Bren gun, designed in Czechoslovakia. It's an excellent weapon, reliable, accurate, well-balanced. It fires 7.92 to 57mm Mauser from a top-mounted 20-round magazine. The Germans captured Czech factories and kept producing these weapons throughout the war. The design is proven, effective, durable. It works. The WW30, an improved version of the WW26 with a few refinements, better bipod, improved sights, minor mechanical upgrades. This weapon influenced multiple other designs across Europe. Czechoslovakia had a world-class arms industry before German occupation. The WS-30 is legitimately capable. And finally, Polish weapons, the WW28. This is Poland's license-built version of the BAR. Same weapon, same strengths, same limitations. Polish forces used it during the 1939 invasion and in exile afterward. It's as effective as the American version, which means it's heavy, magazine-limited, but hits hard and works reliably. It does the job. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for the next video.